morning and welcome to Conversations Under the Canopy. My name is Michelle Martin. I am the host for this morning's program and have been part of the Canopy team for almost 8 years. I work within the customer success management team, providing our clients proactive services and solutions for their teams. I'm also a certified international health coach and support Canopy's health and wellness initiatives, providing resources on topics such as whole body health, mindfulness, sleep hygiene, meditation, and more. This is our second year providing this series, and if you are new to Conversations, it is a series of short sessions where we speak with Canopy and industry experts to help us learn about services and valuable insights in the world of employee well-being, engagement, and performance. This program is being recorded. There is much to discuss, so we'll be focusing on a few key specifics. We'll do our best to answer a few questions at the end of the program, but after the presentation, we will follow up with a survey and your feedback would be greatly appreciated. Our guest today is Corey Routh. Corey has been in human resource leadership for over 30 years, supporting industry-leading Fortune 500 international companies, established mid-sized companies, and also startup organizations. These industries vary from financial services and education to apparel and hospitality. He has led operations for legal, public relations, and marketing. Corey presents on the topics of organizational identity, organizational agility, cultural development, and transformational leadership, as well as labor relations. He currently serves as a board member of iSocial, a neurodiversity service provider. In this conversation, Corey will help us understand better what neurodiversity is and why it is so important part of our
other cat is sitting on my computer
and company culture. I've also been looking so forward to this program, and thank you so much, Corey, for being part of it. Welcome.
Thank you. That was quite the introduction. Thank you very much. Before we begin, I just want to say a quick word about Canopy. Over the years, I've worked with 4 or 5 really good employee assistance program providers, and I used Canopy for 8 years, including during COVID, and they are truly outstanding. Anthony Brown, the CEO, Michelle, and the rest of the team are truly exceptional. So if you are ever shopping for an EAP provider, these folks are terrific.
Oh, thank you, Corey. That is so nice. And so we got limited time, so let's just get right in it. What is the obvious question? What is neurodiversity?
That is the place to start, isn't it? Yeah. This is a very deep field. People get their PhDs in it. There's a lot of technical information. I'm going to try and hit on the information that is most important, and this is definitely one of them. So the term neurodiversity refers to a group of neurodistinctions, and neurodistinctions are a neurology that is non-typical. And so this graphic here shows 9 different neurodistinctions, and each of these are non-typical. Now, if you have done some Googling, and I bet you probably have, you will have seen diagrams or models with as few as 5 neurodistinction and as many as 22. 8 of these 9 are generally agreed upon by most, if not all, experts. The one, mental health, there's still some debate about that, only because it is a very comprehensive term and means a lot of different things. But right now, at this moment, these are the ones that I would say fall under the umbrella of neurodiverse. There are a couple of other things that I would mention about neurodiversity that I think are important. One is the size of the population. Most people, I think, believe that in their organization, they may have a handful of folks. And in reality, people with neurodistinctions make up 20% of the workforce. And I'm sure that that is a surprising statistic for probably all of you. And there are some really good reasons. And I would love to spend an hour talking about why, but I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why that is the case. The biggest is that people with neurodistinctions are afraid to self-identify for fear of stigmas and discrimination, and that is a very real fear. Another important reason is that there are a lot of people that are aware that they think differently, their minds work differently than many of the people around them, and they have not gotten a formal diagnosis either out of fear or because they don't have the funds to have that done. And right now, there is a backlog for providers that can make those diagnoses. For state supported practices, the backlog is as long as 4 years. And part of it is because of the trending nature of this. So it's a large population. And there are some good reasons why you might not be aware of the size of the population. Something else that's kind of interesting is of that 20% of the population, the population of neurodiverse, over 80% of them have ADHD, autism, or a combination of the two. Kind of an interesting fact. And that is something that I factor into strategic planning when I work with employers.
Yeah, good reason. Why do you think the topic of neurodiversity is trending now?
That is a very big question, and it's important for reasons that you might not realize. Um, it is, I would say every organizational leader that I've talked to has asked that question, why is this trending? And a more interesting question is, why hasn't it trended sooner? But the reason that it has trended recently has to do with the focus on mental health, and during COVID, how that focus on mental health expanded. And for some reason, neurodiverse, the term neurodiverse, neurodiversity was used enough online that people grabbed onto it and it became viral. Now, that is a different phenomenon than what is happening in the workplace. They are related in a way, but I think the real question that organizational leaders want to know is this a trend in terms of expectations for support and attention in the workplace that is going to fade, that is going to wane? And the reason why that's a very legit question is that if you're an organizational leader, you know there have been times when your employees have really demanded attention on something that a year later it's as if it was never a concern. This is something that is not only not going away, I am 100% confident that you are going to see an increase in expectations and awareness over the next 4 to 6 years that is going to grow pretty rapidly, and it will level off, but it is not going away. And there are some really good reasons why I am confident about that. I'm going to share just a couple. I could talk about this for an hour.
Yeah.
So the reason I know it's not going away is that this is a big group of people. This is 20% of your workforce. The second piece of that is these people have a significant pent-up demand for support, for specific accommodations that they need to do their jobs well. And the reason that that is pent up is because they are afraid to self-disclose and therefore afraid to ask for those accommodations. Now, the third piece of that equation is that we know from experience that as people feel comfortable and confident and supported, and that there is an awareness of what makes them unique, that they are going to be more comfortable to self-disclose and ask for what they need. Let's think of a recent example. Can you think of a group of people in the last 20 to 30 years who were afraid to self-identify for fear of discrimination, and as public acceptance and awareness built, they did become comfortable self-identifying? I think we all know that happens. So we know that that is how this works, and I believe that that's what's going to happen with neurodiversity.
Nice. And so then that brings us right to my next question. How is neurodiversity relevant specific to the workplace?
Again, very big topic, and I'm going to try and give you a couple of nuts on this. So there are, think of it as sort of two buckets. One is there are multiple legal obligations that employers have to support people with neurodiversity. One has to do with accommodations under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Every form of neurodistinction falls under the ADA. And so when reasonable requests are made related to neurodistinction, companies with 15 or more employees are obligated to provide those accommodations. And I can tell you, if you have experience with accommodations, almost every accommodation is considered reasonable by the standards. Another legal obligation is to not discriminate against people with disabilities or impairments, such as these distinctions. And that means non-discrimination in every aspect of employment. That has to do with recruiting and hiring and promoting and opportunities, but also how they're treated in the workplace. The second sort of bucket of reasons why I think neurodiverse folks are so relevant in the workplace, or why the topic is so important, is the benefit to the bottom line. And I think this is really where good employers are going to focus. We know that neurodistinct individuals often come with exceptionally high levels of valuable skills. There are companies like Microsoft, IBM, Ernst & Young, cybersecurity firms that actually hire specialized recruiters to find people with specific neurodistinctions for specific roles because they know their performance is going to be better. In fact, research shows that people with neurodistinctions are between 30% and 140% more productive than their peers, which is astounding. And also, we know that effective DEIAB programs enhance organizational performance for many reasons: retention, engagement, cultural quality, organizational identity, and including this group in the support the DEIAB programs is only going to improve organizational performance. I've got a trivia question for you real quick. What do you think these people have in common? Elon Musk, Lionel Messi, Sia, Albert Einstein, Greta Thunberg, Temple Grandin, David Beckham, Steve Jobs. If you said they all have neurodistinctions, you'd be right. In fact, they all have autism. So that gives you an idea of how high performing these folks can be.
High performing is right. Okay, so knowing next steps might feel a bit overwhelming. What are some action items you would recommend for employers and leadership?
This is where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? And I would think of it in a couple of ways. One is there is sort of like a long menu list of action items or initiatives that employers can take or implement to support their folks with neurodiversity. Now, I know and you know that every organization is very unique for a lot of different reasons, and the approach for supporting people with neurodiversity should be tailored to the organization. There are a lot of things, a lot of actions that can take that might not have a big impact in some organizations, but a bigger impact in others. So I would think about the menu list and thoughtfully, strategically selecting the initiatives that would be right for you. When I talk with organizational leaders about what they can do, I present the options, this menu, in sort of 3 tiers. The first tier are those that I recommend for everyone. The second tier are what I call the big bang for the buck. Those are things that you can do with less investment and less effort and get a lot of value for it. And the third tier is for like high achieving organizations, although I've seen smaller organizations implement a number of those with great success and great value. So there are 3 tiers. We're going to hit them really quickly. Again, we just have a few minutes here. So this will give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So this is tier 1, just some items from tier 1. And this is really about fundamental legal liability management. This is making sure that your operation, your company is operating within the law and within compliance. And I will tell you, I don't know many that are actually that buttoned up, where they are totally in compliance in terms of process, interview and selection process, accommodations, communication, and so forth. That's one piece of this. Another piece I want to mention on this list that's really important is that it is really important to meet the essential needs of individual neurodiverse employees who need it, such as getting an occupational therapist. There are some great there's some great assistance. So there's a network called LinkOT that has great occupational therapists that are available anywhere you work or you operate. There are other programs that can help people with autism really unlock their ability to engage with others. So I would make sure that you get the help that people need to those folks. And then another piece of this is updating your policy and program documents to reflect neurodiversity. Tier 2, this is the big bang for the buck. This includes things like providing training for specific roles in HR. It includes providing training for managers who supervise people who have self-disclosed, and implementing some basic protocols that are actually beneficial for everyone, not just neurodistinct, and cost nothing to do. So there's some really great items on this list. This is my dream list, for a lot of employers. There is so much that can be done that will really make a difference, not only for the bottom line, not only for the people that are neurodiverse, but also just for the organization as a whole and how people perceive them. But this includes things like engaging senior executives to make sure that they can answer basic questions and point people to the right resources, training all HR managers, extending training to mid-level executives, and developing a communication approach that will not only build awareness of neurodiversity and how people can support each other in this way, but maintain that awareness over time. Hope that gives you an idea of things on that list.
That's great information, and I'm sure that attendees have lots more questions and may need additional resources and guidance. So how best do they get a hold of you?
You could reach out to me through LinkedIn. You can call or text me on that phone number, or you can send me an email using that email right there.
Fantastic, fantastic. And just so everybody knows, we are going to be following up with a recording of the program. So if you're feverishly taking notes, you'll definitely get some information following this program. And I know we're right at our end hour, but I just want to be able to take questions if we can. While I'm looking at questions, Corey, maybe you could just tell us one more thing you would tell leadership about neurodiversity.
Gosh, there's so many things. I would say, I would repeat, this is not going away. Act now, don't wait. I think if it's something that is going to happen, there's a lot of value for taking action now and being seen as valuing your employees and taking the initiative to do something before they get, an organization gets so much pressure that they feel like they have to do it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm just looking really quickly. I see a lot of thank yous and kudos, and we're going to go ahead and let people move on with the rest of their day.
Okay.
But I did want to just mention, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Corey, for joining. And we do hope that you will join us for the next conversation on the topic of leveraging AI and tech for personal and professional growth. So stay tuned for follow-up email information about that program. You can also check out our events and education page on our website at canopywell.com. Again, thank you, Corey, a wealth of knowledge and information, and generous for you to share that information. So until next time, everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and take care.
Thank you.